No matter what happens in the culture, it didn't just start. A lot of things that you see happen came about from not even from my generation, but the generation that became before me.
I believe she knew he was doing the freak-offs.
I grew up with Puff Daddy's parents.
Dapper Dan actually tried to warn us about Diddy's mom, and people just brushed it off.
I'm addressing exactly what happened. So that's all I can tell you for now.
But now, all these whispers coming out of Harlem are saying Janice Combs might not have been the sweet, supportive mom we thought she was. Word is, she was allegedly running secret underground clubs and teaching Diddy how to get down way before Bad Boy was even a thing.
I grew up with his parents. I knew his parents. He said, and what's going on with him has been going on long before him.
And here's the crazy part. People are saying she's the one who introduced him to all those freak-off scenes, taught him how to move, how to work people, how to play the game. Some even claim she was part of those freak-offs herself.
I think she just was enjoying the fruits of the labor.
But why you believe she knew about the freak-offs?
Because one of the witnesses said she was there.
And these aren't just rumors. Several people who were close to Diddy and worked with him have come forward with what they witnessed during their time with him.
I think that she liked to party, and she partied with young people. She's always been like that. She always copied or emulated Little Kim and Mary J. Blige.
Don't forget what everyone said during their testimonies. But who was the first person to speak up and defend him like he was the victim? His mom, Janice. She stood by him without hesitation. But now, according to folks close to the scene, she might have known what was really going on this whole time. And honestly, the more you hear, the darker it all sounds. So now people are asking, was Mama Combs just being a loyal mom? Or was she actually the one pulling the strings behind the scenes? So before Puff Daddy ever got cuffed and hauled off by the feds, Harlem legend Dapper Dan already chimed in, and let's just say he wasn't sugarcoating a thing. When folks asked him about all the drama surrounding Diddy, Dap didn't jump to his defense, but he didn't completely throw him under the bus either. Instead, he dropped some real Harlem-grown wisdom. He talked about growing up around Diddy's parents, including Diddy's mom, Janice Combs, and according to him, none of this is exactly new. And mind you, what he said wasn't pleasant at all. He basically dropped all the bombshells of what we are witnessing right now. It didn't start with Diddy. There was something even bigger than Diddy behind the scenes. This kind of behavior, the secret parties, the whole power trip lifestyle, it's been in motion for decades, long before Bad Boy Records was even a thing.
And on his new album that's coming out, I'm addressing exactly what happened.
The only difference now, social media pulled the curtains wide open. No more hiding behind luxury shades and champagne flutes. And honestly, what Dapper Dan said is starting to make a lot of sense, especially when you look at the rumors swirling around. Many people have started to connect the dots, and the stories keep getting wilder every day. Word is Janice Combs didn't just raise Diddy, she allegedly raised him into that lifestyle. There's talk that she exposed him to those infamous freak-offs, and that their mother-son relationship wasn't exactly typical. Some folks are even saying she took part in those same wild scenes Diddy's now facing lawsuits over. Yes, the ones involving NDAs, traumatized victims, and disturbing court claims. There's even an old clip of Diddy and his mom side by side, both getting IV drips, supposedly just for hydration. But here's where it gets real sketchy. Court documents describe how these freak-off parties would get so intense, so over the top, that guests would need IVs afterwards just to recover. Passed out, drenched in sweat, completely drained.
Diddy has said this. He said, when I give a party, I have to have an ambulance outside of the house. Paramedics ready. That people have to take IVs.
But here's the thing nobody's saying. Diddy and his mom had just left one of those events in that clip. But let's be real. The timing, the visuals, it's giving way too many red flags. And it doesn't even stop there. People have been raising eyebrows for years over how unusually affectionate Diddy gets with his mom in public. Like there's actual footage of him kissing her. Not a sweet little peck either. We're talking full-on lip to lip. Then he turns around and jokes about how his mom's single at 85 and needs a man. Sir, that's your mama. That didn't feel weird to anyone else? Because it's definitely giving off. But here's the part nobody's really digging into yet.
Remember the time that him and his mama kissed each other on the lips?
Yeah, I remember that video.
Do you remember that both of them was getting an IV at the same time?
A lot of folks believe Janice used to be a model, glamorous, classy, all that. But according to people from Harlem, that might have just been a cover. The real talk is, she was allegedly a madam behind the scenes, connecting young girls with powerful men, all while the modeling image was just a shiny distraction. That whole glitz and glam thing? Smoke and mirrors. And guess who was right there watching it all go down as a kid? Yep, young Diddy. Word is he soaked it all in, learned how to pull strings, charm people, manipulate situations, all while keeping the darkest stuff behind closed doors. And this isn't just street gossip. Insiders have been hinting at it for years. He was exposed to things no young person ever should be, and it clearly shaped the person he is today. Jaguar Wright, she flat out said it. Janice was the blueprint, the original madam. Diddy just followed her lead. Even Mays, who's had a major beef with Diddy, said it himself. According to him, Janice knows everything. He even claimed Diddy hides behind her, like she's the keeper of all his darkest secrets.
They ran into Dapper Dan in Harlem, and they asked him what he thought about what was going on with Diddy and if he knew Diddy. And I love Dapper Dan for this.
And think about it. Every time Diddy's name gets dragged through the mud, guess who's right there standing by him? His mom. She acted like her son was just misunderstood, like he was the real victim. But come on now. We all saw what happened, and you're telling me she didn't know what he was capable of? She knew. She's always known. Now here's where it takes an even darker turn. And this one's hard to talk about. There are whispers, very serious ones, that Diddy's pattern of V didn't just start with random women. Some people believe his first victim may have been his own mother. Gene Deal, who used to work closely with Puff back in the day, said he heard this straight from Kirk Burrows, one of Diddy's old business partners. He allegedly caught Diddy cursing out his mom, and not just yelling. No, it went further. He allegedly slapped her. This is the same dude, bro, that used to disrespect his mother, Deal stated, adding, "I've seen the love they now have for each other only on film or camera, YouTube or Instagram or whatever they're showing," Gene said. So here's where things get even more intense. Deal, Diddy's former bodyguard, claimed that Kirk Burrows, one of Bad Boy Records' former executives, once told him that Diddy actually slapped his mother. Yep, you heard that right. And Deal didn't stop there. He added, "I don't know how many dudes do kiss their mother in the mouth when they're 50, 60 years old. That's them. That's their whole thing." Then he pointed out a strange little detail. Janice Combs supposedly wore white nail polish. Why does that matter? Well, it's the same thing Cassie mentioned in her lawsuit, saying it was a specific look Diddy liked women to have. Deal continued, saying, "What's crazy to me is that it seemed like him and his mother had this, I don't want to get too deep, man, this Oedipus complex thing." According to him, a lot of Diddy's disturbing behavior might trace back to Janice's influence. The apple didn't fall far from the tree, Deal said, even accusing Janice of running a so-called P-ring under the guise of a modeling agency.
When she used to do her little modeling thing with her little ladies other night, the little wild parties, when she gave that up, I don't think she was in the business.
And while he didn't claim she was at Diddy's infamous freak-off parties, he did say she was a regular at his more toned-down gatherings, and was probably well aware of everything that went down behind the scenes. As for her recent public support for Diddy, Deal wasn't buying it. He said, instead of being his friend, she should have checked Diddy's A when he was allegedly doing all that dirty S. Now wait a second, he slapped his own mother, the same woman he kisses on the lips in public, the one he's always calling his queen in interviews. That doesn't sit right, but if that claim holds any truth, it flips the whole story on its head. Because here's where things take a turn into deep, messy territory. Like bloodline deep. There's been talk that the woman we've all known as Diddy's mom, Janice Combs, might not actually be his biological mother. Some folks believe the real Janice passed away years ago and that the woman we've seen by his side all these years is actually his aunt. Why the cover-up? Well, once you start digging into the family history, it gets real murky. His biological father, Melvin Combs, wasn't just some neighborhood guy. Allegedly, he was deep in government business, a known informant. Harlem Whispers says that he was knee-deep in shady operations, backdoor deals, political connections, and straight-up betrayals. Jaguar Wright even claimed he was more than just an informant. He was a player in something much bigger.
But there's whispers in the streets of Harlem that Diddy's mother isn't alive. Not his biological mother, that woman is his aunt.
And you know what they say, like father, like son. Diddy's own behavior over the years, moving in silence, always dodging consequences, knowing exactly when to shift blame, it's got people wondering if he's playing from the same rulebook. I mean, even Kanye once called him a federal agent on camera, and the internet kinda didn't disagree. But the most unsettling part? The stories from his childhood. Old interviews and neighborhood voices have described his early years as being surrounded by chaos, adult parties, substances, and disturbing scenes no child should ever witness.
He didn't get all this from his daddy because he didn't know his daddy, even though they try to say his daddy was some big-time deal in the whole 9 yards.
People claim they walked into rooms with grown men and women doing the unthinkable while young Diddy sat quietly nearby, and no one did a thing, not even Janice. And when you connect those dots, from the rumored freak-offs to the IV drips, the overly affectionate mother-son moments, and the whispers that Janice wasn't just present at those parties, but possibly recruiting women herself, it's all very uncomfortable. Gene Deal even claimed Janice tried to seduce Diddy's own security team, not behind closed doors, openly. And one witness outright said she was there at the parties, not just watching, but actively involved.
Age-appropriate, inappropriate clothing that I want to say, because I know people going to through it. About, what you mean? She's 70, 80 years old. She don't have to wear she can wear hot pants if she want to. Okay.
During an interview that aired on November the 18th, 2024, Deal tried to tread carefully when the topic of Diddy's mother came up. I don't want to speak about that man's mama like that, bruh. Was his mama a freak? I don't know that about her. But if she was a Diddy's freak off at 70 years old, she was just like the rest of them. The freaks come out at night, he said, making it clear he wasn't trying to directly accuse her, but also not exactly shutting the door on the rumors either. He kept his distance from labeling her outright, but did throw in that Janice was considered a cougar. According to Deal, she had a reputation for dating much younger men, though he emphasized that it didn't automatically make her a freak. This isn't the first time Deal has raised eyebrows with his comments about their relationship. Back in October 2024, he stirred up controversy by suggesting Diddy's bond with his mother had shades of an Oedipus complex, adding more fuel to the already swirling speculation around the nature of their connection. But you're going to be shocked at how Diddy's mother supported him even after all the evidence. While Diddy's been drowning in legal drama and fresh allegations, his mom stepped up just last month to show her support. Speaking through her lawyer, Janice stood by her son, saying he deserves the chance to prove his innocence in court. It's heartbreaking to see my son judged not for the truth, but for a narrative created out of lies, she said in her statement. She went on to say, he is not the monster they have painted him to be, while also expressing disappointment at how quickly the public has turned against her son. Now, Janice didn't try to paint Diddy as some flawless saint. I'm not here to portray my son as perfect because he is not, she admitted. He has made mistakes in his past, as we all have. My son may not have been entirely truthful about certain things, such as denying he has ever gotten V with an ex-girlfriend. She also addressed the legal move that had everyone talking. This is why I believe my son's civil, legal team opted to settle the ex-girlfriend's lawsuit instead of contesting it until the end, resulting in a ricochet effect as the federal government used this decision against my son by interpreting it as an admission of guilt, she explained. Now think back to something Diddy once said in an old Vibe interview from '99. He casually mentioned that he lost his innocence at just 12 years old and had already started exploring himself at 11 after watching late-night cable shows. He talked about it like it was a normal rite of passage. But that's not some coming-of-age story. That sounds like unresolved trauma. And yet, there are whispers that Janice wasn't just aware of all this, she may have been the one guiding it. One person working on a Bad Boy documentary even said Diddy had a thing for red lighting at his events. You can draw your own conclusions from there.
But you can't tell me Miss Janice Combs, who was always at the regular parties didn't know nothing about the freak-off parties.
Let's talk about those infamous Diddy parties for a second. Ever notice the red lighting? That moody, low-lit, almost eerie glow that feels more like a ritual than a celebration? Yeah, that wasn't just for the aesthetic. Rumor has it, Diddy didn't come up with that on his own. Allegedly, he got that whole set the vibe playbook straight from Janice Combs. People have even called her a master at creating a certain atmosphere. And no, we're not talking scented candles and jazz. It was something darker. Now let's pull back a bit, because there's another name floating in this twisted web, Clive Davis. Yes, the music mogul. Whispers suggest he might have had ties to Diddy's dad, Melvin Combs, before Melvin died. And then, magically, after Melvin's sudden death, a young Diddy just so happens to land under Clive's mentorship.
Being told that her husband was dead and he ended up marrying that lady, which was his mother.
That's not luck, that's legacy. Some say Diddy didn't just stumble into fame, he was brought in, chosen, groomed. Allegedly, there were certain rites of passage he had to go through to lock in his spot. And guess who was allegedly watching the whole time? Janice. Not just watching, managing. Maybe even orchestrating. Now let's connect the dots. A child exposed to grown-up stuff way too early. A family tree that's possibly not what it seems. Industry power players stepping in before the kid even had facial hair. And a mother figure who may have been too involved in all the wrong ways. This doesn't look like a troubled upbringing, it looks like a setup. Fast forward to now. Diddy's trial is in week 2. The walls are closing in. Former employees are talking. Ex-girlfriends are sharing their truths. Alleged victims are stepping into the light. And those court documents stacking up like unpaid bills. But here's where it gets messy. Real messy. Word is Janice Combs herself might be in hot water. There are whispers that she's been helping Diddy hide assets. Houses, accounts, entire properties, allegedly under her name. That's not just some mom being helpful, that's potential money laundering territory. And if the feds catch wind of that, there's no bystander, she's a person of interest. So now folks are asking the real question. Is Janice just a ride or die mom? Or has she been the mastermind all along? Because let's be honest, Diddy's behavior, the control, the manipulation, the disturbing power plays, it had to come from somewhere. And if the stories are even half true, Janice wasn't just along for the ride, she paved the road. As the trial draws closer each day, more and more people are uncovering the reality hidden behind closed doors. With Janice's involvement, the case could get a lot messier than expected. It might even bring the whole family down with it. A user commented, "Moms have a great influence on their sons. When a mom is perverse and dark, her son will also be the same. That doesn't absolve Diddy of his crimes, but it just indicates that perversion and darkness runs deep in the family." But what do you guys think? Is she the protective mother caught in the storm, or the original architect of all this chaos? Puppet or puppet master?